Well, good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to another book reading on a very cold day here in the southeast of England. And I dare say where you are also may well be cold, of course, unless you're in Adelaide. Then it's probably nice and warm. Welcome to the Listen with Vobes, he says, quickly checking that he is broadcasting on the right channel. That has happened before now. Anyway, we are going to carry on with our reading here in good old Blighty on Southern English Roads by James John Hissey. And I think we're on chapter 12 and we're still heading on to chapter 12. Hello to the lovely Julia, to Tall Podge, to Billabong O'Neill. How's things in the eye department? Yeah, the eye's okay, actually. A few floaters still going around, but no pain or grit anymore. So whatever it was, well, I sort of think I know what it was, but it hasn't had a resurgence. Everything else is cold and ready to sort of drop off, but the eye, fortunately, is still intact. Tall Podge says, I've just had a very chilly walk along the River Wey. Lovely walk, but freezing. Yes, I'm not surprised. Absolutely. Justin Jones says, hello all. Hello, Steve Snoops. I'm Steve Snoops, the sex detective. What? There's a blast from the past there. Someone's been snooping around the internet looking at some dodgy old footage there, I think. Turbo Stream, just made it in time. Hello to you. Justine, hello to you. James Poulton, hello to you. Thanks, Richard, for your message today. Oh, it's my pleasure. Thank you, sir. Tool Podge, exciting stuff then, is it? Exciting stuff. John F., hello. Michael White, Dave of Your, Green Man, Nigel Sadler, Audrey Forbes, and Lee Lawson. Just missing Linda Kane, I think. I do have Philip Hammond and Mary. Good afternoon. Lovely to see you both. And, yep. The fire is on. It's not really cutting it in my back room, my north-facing back terraced room, but these jumpers are amazing. So that's all we can say on there. It's just 4 o'clock. So hope you're all well. Poor old Julia. I dragged her out today down to Littlehampton. Well, on the Climping side of Littlehampton. I wanted to fly the drone. And get some shots above the harbour and the beach and around where the Shoreham Fort is and the golf links and all that sort of area. So I could illustrate at the beginning of the next episode of the Sussex Border Walk some of the layout of the ground. We made a video, but a very impromptu, rough-edged video, wobbly cam, I'm afraid, not with the gimbal or anything like that. We had little Joe and the pushchair and the stuff to carry, so it was a bit awkward. So we've just made this. I mean, it's okay. It's all right. Little video. Excuse me. And that'll be up for tomorrow. Sorry, I've not eaten, you see, since breakfast, and I just rammed down some cheese on toast just a few seconds ago. And of course, you shouldn't do that before you're about to read, because it'll just keep repeating on you. Anyway, I dragged Julia and little Joseph down there, took them out, and unfortunately, Julia lost some earrings, or an earring, and they were a nice pair. I feel very bad. I mean, they could. We sort of vaguely know where they are, but you know, it could be looking for a needle in a haystack. And we'd walked all the way back, and it was a right old thing, and we needed to get back. I needed to edit the thing, needed to do this, got the Vogue show, so everything was. Anyway, it was a bit of a thing. Julia says, I just had issues with the kettle, so the water isn't boiled, yet I bought 2 biscuit tins today. Well, you need 2 cups of tea to go with those biscuits in the tins. Dudley Sawyer says, cup of tea and a digestive. Fantastic. Yeah, drop one round, would you? And Lee Lawson says, do we still get fat on your virtual biscuits? Julia, yes, I'm sure we do. Were they full of biscuits? So the biscuit tins, hopefully they were. And Justin Jones says, I have a custard cream. Oh, I will have a custard cream. Or could I have one? We only get virtually fat with these virtual biscuits, luckily. Oh, I didn't realise they're virtual biscuits. That's no good. Right. I think I've warmed up my hands enough now. I'm rubbing them. It is I need to put them on the fire. It's only because I've been away and then I was sitting in the other room editing like a frantic monk writing a scribe script. I don't know what that is either. And then came in here and went, oh my God, not only am I cold, but the icebox room is also cold. But we'll get warmed up now under the glare of these LED lights that emit no heat whatsoever. But they do sort of make you feel a bit warmer. So we were somewhere around, he was travelling, wasn't he, along the A27, or what was to become the A27, I think, through the old A27, presumably. Anyway, he gets to Fareham. Philip Hammond says, Mary says, wool ordered. Oh, yes, I've ordered another couple of jumpers, ladies and gentlemen, because I think it's going to be a long winter. And, of course, everybody's admired my jumpers that Mary has made. And I thought, well, I'd better get some more to add to the variety. Otherwise, you'll be seeing the same. It'll be just like traffic lights. You'll see the same thing and go, which jumper is he? So I've got another couple. We don't know what colours. Well, I know vaguely what colours they are. I know one of the colours I've ordered, but it could be, who knows what it is. From Fareham, we drove to Southampton, a very easy day's stage of about 12 rather hilly miles. It was a charming country we passed through, delightfully varied by hill and dale, by wood and water. Soon, to our left, looking down through the trees, we caught a glimpse of Southampton Water, with the wooded banks opposite that gave it the appearance of a great lake, though a large ocean steamer spoilt the illusion by intruding on the scene. How dare it! In a mile or so we came to the charmingly quaint and sleepy old town of Titchfield. Now, imagine Julia's just gone, what? Titchfield? Julia knows Titchfield incredibly well. Snugly ensconced in a sheltered valley. A short way up this valley we caught sight of some very picturesque ruins, in the shape of a group of ivy-clad towers and turrets just peeping over the trees. Guess what that might be? Julia and I made a video there. Leaving the dog cart, we set forth on foot in order to obtain a closer view of the ruins, called, we were informed by a native, Titchfield Place Gateway. We've not heard it. It's sort of more locally known as Titchfield Abbey, isn't it? We wondered how much it was we wondered much how it was that the name had got abbreviated to something more concise. Countrymen do not generally fail in the respect of cutting down names, oftentimes indeed to a irreducible minimum. This gateway formed a portion of the entrance to Titchfield Place, the lordly seat of the Earls of Southampton. We approached the spot through a glade of oaks and found the structure, externally at any rate, in a fair state of preservation and exceedingly picturesque. Ding! Just keep a note on how many picturesque dings I actually say in today's show. Somebody write down a little tally. I'd be fascinated to know how many we get through. Just ruinous enough to appeal to one's sympathies, but not too ruinous. The gateway consists of a central entrance having an octagonal and embattled tower on each. Sorry. Not reading very well, it's the teeth, they're chattering away to themselves. The gateway consists of a central entrance having an octagonal and embattled tower on each flank, with low walls extending therefrom on either side, each ending in another and smaller octagonal tower. The broken outline of the building caused by these towers of different heights is very effective, and its picturesqueness is accentuated by the graceful masses of draping ivy that now adorn its walls. It is a most charming spot. Well, those ivies when we went there are no longer there, and just for the sake of clarity to those people who do not know what it looks like, and I will find you a picture. Titchfield Abbey. And here is a good picture, hopefully. Let's share the resource. Bing! Here it is. Look at that. That is the battlements, so-called, the ruins. And it is marvellous. It is very marvellous. Is there a... There we are. Look, a son. That must be Timis Wriothesley, Earl of what's-his-face. That's what it looked like when it was all together, but it's not, unfortunately, like that now. But it was. So, yeah, how about that? Nice. Hello and welcome to the reading show, Kay Dean. Hello, Kay Dean. Hi, everyone. Hope all is well. So happy to catch it live. Very welcome, Kay Dean. Nice to see you. Thank you for coming along. Everyone's welcome here. You have to bring your own tea and biscuits, I'm afraid. That is the law. And if you don't eat biscuits, real biscuits, you can eat virtual ones. Julia has a pot of them. Thank you, lovely Julia. I always watch, but there is usually something about watching it as it's happening. Yes, absolutely. It's much more fun to realise that this is actually happening live. There is this bald idiot reading out of a great tome of a book from 1886 or 1896, whenever it is. Yes, anyway, it's a charming spot. There are no guides nor notice boards about. Well, there are notice boards now. So we presumed that we were well out of the tourist beat. Returning, we watched an angler patiently whipping the stream that runs down the valley and turns a pretty old mill on the way. Now, that pretty old mill is where Julia used to work. I'm sure she'll be able to tell you. Cadbury's Twirl, anyone? Yes, please, send one over, would you? Julia worked as a sous chef, I think, at this very old mill. Isn't it? It's incredible. Anyway, so 120 years ago, there it was, working away. And I'm just trying to find where I've got to. Returning, we watched an angler patiently whipping the stream that runs down the valley and turns a pretty old mill on the way. We asked the same angler what luck he had. His reply was somewhat enigmatical. Lots of luck, but no fish. As we bade him good day, we expressed a wish that he might fill his creel before the evening. I verily believe he thought we spoke satirically, for he made no response to our good wishes, and really we only intended to be civil. Titchfield Church, at which we glanced before leaving, is an ancient, picturesque, and interesting structure, a happy and harmonious conglomeration of many styles. We have a video where we walked around the town and in the church, in actual fact. Just put in Vobes Titchfield and they'll all come bouncing up at you. Without, there are steps to the belfry by the side of the tower, and within a grand altar tomb dated 1551 to the first and second Earls of Southampton. This has square obelisks tapering to the top at each corner. One earl is shown in full armour, fully decorated, his head resting on a folded mattress instead of the usual helmet, and a curious way of fastening the breastplate is shown. We had a mount out of Titchfield, followed by a long stretch of level road that led us along the considerable elevation. We should have had glorious views from there, but thick woods on either hand robbed us of them. Then we had a long and sheepish descent to Burlesdon Bridge, where we crossed the wide tidal river, the Hamble, on a picturesque old wooden bridge. Bing. Burleston Bridge, is that now part of the A27, do you know, or is that still there, Burleston Bridge? I'd be interested to know. Nigel Sadler would no doubt find that out swiftly, but others may also do it. Burleston is a exceedingly pretty spot, hemmed in by wooded hills from the progressive modern world and its ugliness. It was full of brightness and movement that morning. The river, gleaming with light as it flowed on, was enlivened by sundry white-winged yachts and floating fishing craft. I'm glad the fishing craft was floating. These, with the waving woods around, combined to give an inspiriting feeling of freshness and life to the scene. As we approached the bridge, we found that there was a toll house there and that our way was barred by a gate. We could scarcely believe our eyes. It was so long since we had seen such a thing on a high road. The existence of toll gates had indeed quite slipped our memory. We had to pay a shilling, and were further asked if we would require a return ticket. It appeared there was no saving in a return ticket, but we were told that it avoids the necessary of pulling up on recrossing, and I always ask the quality the question. What? And I always ask the quality the question. We felt flattered in being... Oh, I see, the quality is him. I guess the quality, the person of quality is what he means. Yes, of course. So, yes, so it avoids the necessary of pulling up on recrossing, and I always ask the quality the question. We felt flattered in being included amongst the quality. On from Burleston, our road was all up and down, with level intervals between. We noticed that the miles per hour was reduced to 50 for a great length of time, as they are doing some motorway widening to increase this to a smart motorway. When, oh when, will this ever be finished? I dare say that it'll still go on in 2020. It's bloody right there. They're still widening that sodding motorway and trying to upgrade it to a smart motorway. How he got that, I don't know. At a spot marked on the signpost, "To Southampton by floating bridge," why not a ferry, we turned to the left as directed, deserting the old main road with its long detour to the same destination. As we proceeded down the valley far below, we caught a peep of the grey ruins of Netley Abbey, drowned in foliage, and of the sea beyond. The ruins are situated in a spot of great natural beauty, though its ancient peace and quiet is being ruthlessly broken by an invasion of the modern builder, to whom no beauty is sacred. Wherever there stands a ruined abbey, there one may look for lovely scenery, if no disturbing hand has been at work to despoil nature of her rightful dower. We had a long downhill... Sorry, I'm not reading very well at all today. We had a long run downhill through shady woods, at the foot of which was the floating bridge, and across the blue water the towers, buildings and shipping of Southampton came into sight, all bathed in soft sunshine. The floating bridge is convenient rather than picturesque, ding. Otherwise, this view of Southampton would appeal to a painter, or the ugly contrivance might be discreetly ignored in the making of the picture. However, how different this modern ferry from the primitive and picturesque one, ping, at Burpham. Blimey. Sorry about the reading. I don't know why I'm reading so awfully today. I read so much better with my eye diluted. It's now dilated even. So has anyone found out Burleston Bridge? Let's have the original bridge carrying what is now the A27 road across the River Hamble was made of wood in 1783 and was a toll bridge. Burleston's waterside position and woodland surrounding made it a natural location for building wooden ships. Linda Kane, liar, liar. What do you mean, liar, liar? 27 watching, only 13 likes, says K. Dean. Yes, quite right. You tell them. Is the floating bridge, the ferry, the ferry, is there still a ferry there, or have they shoved in a bridge? Somebody can look that up, can't they? We're on chapter 13. Things get interesting now. Nigel Sadler, that must be the Itchin Ferry. Is the Itchin Ferry still there? Are they still ferrying people across? The Itchin Ferry. What do they do? Do they sprinkle you with itchin powder when you get onto the Itchin Ferry? And you go, God, bloody hell, I wish we'd get off here pretty swift. I've got to see if the Itchin Ferry is there. Is the Itchin Ferry related to the Firkin pub? Not that Firkin pub again. Itchin Ferry, here we go. An Itchin Ferry is a type of small gaff rig cutter. That can't be right. That was originally used for fishing in the Solent. Well, there's a picture of the Itchin Ferry here. That's what they've said what that is. So, no, the ferry has gone. There's a modern bridge just to the north, says Nigel Sadler. Right, okay. Well, apparently they call this the Itchin Ferry now. What does it say? Whilst there's no evidence to suggest one way or another, it has been said that the boats were also used to carry passengers across the Itchin River between Wollaston and Southampton. The hamlet where the fishing boats originated is also named Itchin Ferry Village. No other pictures for it, I'm afraid. So your stuff there. Linda Kane says the floating bridge was a quaint old chain ferry. The concrete Itchin bridge that replaced it does not have the same charm. And yet, when you say quaint, Linda Kane, do you mean ding, picturesque? For the quaint old chain ferry is an uglification, according to old Hissey. I wonder if he gave it to Hissey Fit, comes from him having a moan about things. That'd be interesting. Anyway, here we go, chapter 13, ladies and gentlemen. Nigel Sadler says it was a steam ferry. Well, hang on a minute. You both can't be right. The Itchin Ferry never came up to scratch. It linked Floating Bridge Road. It's a steam ferry. And, oh, right, was it a steam... Wait a minute, because Linda Kane says the floating bridge was a quaint old chain ferry. Was it operated by steam? Maybe that was how it... Maybe it started as chain, and then I used the thesaurus. Don't use a thesaurus. You need actual facts, not something that sounds like. I don't know. I just can't get the staff anymore. At Southampton, we stayed at a regular old-fashioned inn with old-fashioned ways and an old-fashioned waiter to match. And, of course, we had a 4-poster in our bedroom to make the thing complete. Some people, the waiter informed us, regretted that the inn did not move with the times. Others liked it as it was. We were quite satisfied. Yet strangely inconsistent seemed the fact that here, of all places, we lost our individuality in a number, whilst hitherto on the road, without exception, all our bills had been made out in our name. I resent being turned into a mere numeral, which I am apt to forget. I positively dislike being asked at table of a huge... I positively dislike being asked at table of a huge company hotel by a waiter, "What number am I? Are you?" Nor do I especially delight in a boy coming up to me in the salon thereof, demanding if I'm 68. "Are you 68? I beg your pardon, young fella. Are you 68? "No, I'm 72. Now leave me alone. No! Are you table 68? I am not a table, and I am not 68. And you are a very impertinent young man. Nevertheless, are you 68? Yes, I'm 68. Shut the gate, I'm 68. What is it to you? There's a man at the door wants to speak to you. He's a policeman. Oh, yes? What's his number? I didn't get his number. Well, I'm not talking to him until you go out there and ask the constable what his number is. Oh, this is ridiculous. Sorry, a little mini-series there was just breaking out. Little moment of levity. From Southampton, we drove to the New Forest. Leaving the town, the quaint old high street with its interesting bar gate and picturesque ding houses gradually gave way to the commonplace modern suburb without any interest or charm whatever. And I must say, the Southampton suburbs seemed to me unduly prolonged. Now, I don't know if you remember, if you've been with us from the start, one of the first books that we did was English Journey by J.B. Priestley, he says, glancing around. And he takes a journey at the very beginning of that book from Southampton and comes out, mentions is the Bar Gate, which is now in a paved area and is surrounded by shops like Primark and what have you. And he takes out this long northward journey through the suburbs. And he notes, as I recall, how the suburbs in Southampton look, he realised, I can't remember how he phrased it, but he says something along the lines of how he could be anywhere in England because the suburbs of Southampton look identical to the suburbs of Carlisle. And it's an interesting point. And that was written in the 30s. This guy is writing 30 years earlier and is talking about how boring and tedious they are. Come in, 69. Your time is up. Sorry, I meant 96. So could you write the boat before you bring it back in? It's like, how many of you are in there? Well, there's only one now. Where are the others? Oh, I see somebody waving. Yes, hello. Climb back into a boat. Yes, I see you waving. We'll have to start counting the quaints next. Oh, yes, that's very true. Where are we? Somewhere. Oh, yes, in the suburbs of Southampton. God help us. Villas succeeded villas in the tiresome monotony. Worse still, they stood in a long array between us and the lovely Southampton water, preventing any view of the same excepting tantalising peeps of it, sadly limited in extent, that we got now and again between the buildings. These only served to show how much of beauty we missed. When we at last did obtain an uninterrupted prospect looking down the water, we were well rewarded. Unfortunately, the speculative builder has learnt the value of a view and frequently places his desirable villa in a position not only to obtain it, but alas, so that it is hidden from or ruined to the road traveller. Yeah, well, if you go down there, you can go to Ocean Village, I think it is. You probably look down through the villas and see, nice view of Ocean Village with its fluorescent lights and all of that stuff. At the little the village of Totton. Oh, yeah, village of Totton. I just started to think, Stanley, I think my eldest son lived near Totton. If I remember rightly, there's a godforsaken main road that goes through there, which is tedious because of the 40-mile-an-hour speed cameras. I may be mistaken, but it's very close to... Anyway, at the little village of Totton, the first on the way, we crossed the clear-flowing and troutful Test, grown into quite a wide river there by two stone bridges, one old and grey, the other comparatively modern. The view from this spot, looking up the valley, is very charming. From the reedy riverside to the gently sloping hills stretch forth level, luxuriant meadows of a great, rich, restful green. Here and there in these we noticed the meek-eyed cattle were standing lazily about, looking half asleep. just slowly and methodically whisking their tails now and then to keep the flies off. A very picture of dreamy contentment. No ding there, that was just a picture. The dominant note of the prospect was perfect tranquillity, a tranquillity that infused itself somehow into us and caused us to loiter there, indulging in the general slothfulness. It is a good thing to be slothful sometimes in this eager world. A very active man was about taking a short holiday, and meeting his doctor, he asked him where he should best spend it. "In bed," said the doctor. Yes, a lot of people tell me I've got to stop. It was some time before we got into the real forest, but at Cadnam, a small hamlet, Cadnam, not heard of that, where's that? We found ourselves at last there. All around nothing was visible but wild woods and winding sandy roads, with patches of blue and white sky above. For those roads we might have imagined it to be a forest primeval. Here we made a sketch of the picturesque ding-thatched and whitewashed inn called the John Barleycorn. Is Andrew Norris out there? That will ring with him at the moment. On one cottage of the hamlet was a notice that read, "Surgery. Attendance Monday and Friday at 11 o'clock. And we could only trust that the Cadnamites manage to fall ill when they do on one of those stipulated days. We asked a man who chanced to pass by then how he managed with his family. We took for granted that he had a family, if any of them wanted to see the doctor on the wrong day. His reply was slightly confused, though we grasped his intention. "Bless you, sir," he said, "we never wants no doctor, we don't. Enviable man, happy man." From Cadnam we had a long, rough and tiring pull, all uphill. The road was loose and sandy, the day was hot. Moreover, the forest trees on either hand prevented any air coming to us. We suffocated and died in a horrible agonizing death, turning blue and our lungs sneaking out of our mouths and running off with a windbag. Oh, no, it doesn't say that. Sorry. There's a little bit of floater in my eye. Sometimes I misread the odd passage. It was a blessed relief, but it was, to get at last onto the high open ground where, for a space, low-growing gorse, heather, brambles and bracken flourished in place of tall trees. Not tall podge, by the way. Our prospect, recently so sadly limited to the length and width of our road, bound in by thick woods, now suddenly expanded to miles upon miles in every direction. This bit of open heath, known as Stony Cross Hill, is perhaps the highest ground in the forest, which encompasses it on all sides. Here we entered upon quite another climate, for the air was sweet, delightfully fresh and invigorating. Indeed, it seemed almost cool after our warm, muggy drive in the sheltered valley. Stony Cross Hill. Stony Cross rings a bell. Cadnam, buried in Southampton like Tottenham. Is it? Says Linda Kane. I thought for a minute you said Tottenham. No one goes there unless they have to. Yeah, I bet you're right there. I'm going to have to see if I can have a look on a map. Let's have a look at the OS map. What are we looking for? Stony Cross something or other. Hill. Let's have a little gander here. So, hang on, where is he? Chichester, we're right over here, Porchester. Hang on. Where's Southampton gone? There's Portsmouth. There's oh, there it is. Oh yeah, that's so right. Oh, okay, so there's Totton. He said he was heading for the New Forest, didn't he? Oh, there's Cadnam. Coach and Horses. Where has he gone now then? Stone Cross. Here we go. Stone Cross. Over here. Stone Cross. On the A31. Let's... Stone Cross. Where's Stone Cross Hill? There's the roof of stone. Well, it's somewhere around. It must be somewhere around here. Stone Cross is here, so presumably one of these hills here. Upper roof of stone, Fort, Fursey, the Grove. So yes, these are all the hills that he's gone through. Where's, oh, there's Cadnam. Oh yeah. So he's probably just trucking along the old, well, what was and before the A31. Cadnam's a service station, isn't it? When you leave the M, whatever it is, the M27. Oh, is it? The Heat and the Flies. Ah, yes. Cadnam buried in Southampton, like Tottenham, yeah. What a shame. After filling up with 2-star diesel and adding a little bit of oil into the mix, we carried on the A31 and joined the queue as the holidaymakers and the caravans all joined in front of us, slowing us down to a snail's... What? Sorry, I think that's not true either. This bit of heath known as Stone Cross Hill is perhaps the highest ground in the forest, which encompasses it on all sides. Here we entered upon a quiet, another climate, for the air was sweet, delightfully fresh and invigorating. Indeed, it seemed most cool, oh yes, I've read all this, after our warm, muggy drive in the sheltered valley. Here we were greatly rejoiced to find an inn at an ideal spot, standing all alone in restful solitude, with a pleasant garden and, important detail to us, having stabling attached. We found the inn, which proclaimed itself by the old-fashioned signboard as the Compton Arms. Let's have a look at the Compton Arms and see if that is there at Stone Cross. There's Stone Cross Plain, the Grove. Can't see a pub. Oh, there is a pub. There's a pub here. Oh, no, sorry, I beg that pardon. That's parking. I'm looking at parking. Oh, I'm going the wrong way. And you're not even... Can't see a pub marked on the map. But let's all go down the Strand, have a banana. A banana right now would be good. What did we say it was called? The Compton Arms. At Stone Cross. At Stony Cross. Compton Arms Hotel. Oh my goodness. Here, have a look at this. So this is presumably... Oh, why did you do that, you swine? Just show me the image. Presumably that's it. Sorry, it's a very tiny picture because the swines wouldn't let me have anything bigger. And is this what it is now? Little Chef. Can't be the same. Let's see what it says. Hang on a minute. I know, you've all looked it up before me. I know how you work. The Compton Arms Hotel, Stone Cross. Where's a picture? No such picture. Blogs, sources, groups, places, people, times, about. You'd think you would show us New Forest Centre images. Is this it? No. Bloody load of old rubbish this is, isn't it? Stony Cross. Is it a Little Chef? Motorway, sir. Come on. You just love it when it won't work. So that must be it then. Is it a travel lodge? Is that what it is? A Linda Kane travel lodge. I'm having a banana now. Wish I could share. We stayed at Stony Cross Travel Lodge on behalf of our bell ringing. Very tacky. There it is. But you can see that it was once a reasonable... Oh, yeah, little chef at one end. Oh, and now a travel lodge. Oh, my giddy aunt. You know, this is our heritage just disappearing into a commercial... it's just the uglification of Britain. Thank God for books like this, that although, you know, he's got his own funny way of writing and overuse of picturesque, but yeah, he does tell you. Anyway, the Compton Arms, the most charming situated, scrupulously clean. Doesn't say it was tacky at all. It says, I noticed in the guest book, Lee Lawson had written, one of the worst travel lodges I've ever had the misfortune to stay in. So tacky. That's what it says here. Doesn't really, just so you know. Doesn't really. Most charming situated and scrupulously clean. The landlord obliging and the ostler one of the right sort. Bless. In virtue of which facts, though it was only midday, we had intended to have slept at Ringwood, some miles further on that night. We suddenly changed our minds. The scenery around was far too beautiful to be simply passed through. Besides, the air was delicious, scented by the diesel trucks that rumbled past the door and filled up, and the wonderful oily smells from the little chef next door. We were desperate to have some of those fish fingers and chips, for they smelt absolutely gorgeous. And what a picturesque sign there with the little squat chef frying at something dreadful and waving his hand in delight. No, that's not right either. Sorry, I'm playing with you. The scenery around was far too beautiful to be simply passed through. Besides, the air was delicious, scented with the dry wood, soft and soothing, balmy though bracing. It was a pleasure to simply breathe it. The views, glance which way we would, were glorious and far-reaching, and then there was the garden to moon about in, should we be in a lazy mood. Little wonder at our decision. The western half, apparently, the original, is still with the portico, is it? Which is the western half? Never eat shredded wheat. Well, I reckon it must be the end in this picture. It must be this end here. I'm assuming, because that looks old. Although that looks suspicious to me, but maybe it is. They've obviously re-roofed it. But these windows are right. Look at that. You don't get that anymore. And look, oh yeah, you can see up here, these windows here are dreadful, little square, horrible things. Whereas this has got that arched curve there. So that's the original bit. Probably just this whole section, isn't it? Interesting. Linda Kane has gone green. Green. Bless her socks of cottonness. I really love a fine view, and here we had it to perfection. After having done justice to an excellent repast, served in a cool, flower-scented coffee room, whose windows looked right over the forest and onto the green garden, we set forth on foot in search of the Rufus Stone, which, we learnt, was situated in a hollow a little way below our inn. Before actually starting, however, we loitered on the high ground in order to leisurely admire the all-round views of the leafy sea that was spread out before us, above which Stony Cross Hill rose like some great island. Look which way we would, there was presented to our gaze a vast ocean of woods, hills and valleys of foliage, growing from green close at hand to a deep blue in the far-away horizon, just as though it had been swept with pure ultramarine. Nature is lavish in her colours when in the mood. Miles of ultramarine were nothing to her. How space-expressing was the prospect, how unique for England, all this vast wilderness of woods extending on all hands as far as the eye can range. To the south, we looked over this sea of greenery to the Isle of Wight, and just glimpsed the Solent water. To the north, the view faded away in the far distance into a mystery of blue nothingness, where the earth seemed to melt into the sky, and to the west and east were woods again. Rufus Stone we found to be, to use an expression that sounds like an Irish bull, an iron one, with inscriptions thereon repeating the often told story of the king's death by a glancing arrow, a story that has caused much controversy as to its authenticity amongst scholars. It has even been doubted whether Sir Walter Tyrrell, the famous crisp manufacturer, was in the forest at all on that eventful day. And some authorities will assert that the accident was no accident at all. However, into this controversy I do not care to enter. By accident or design, the king was shot, and the church did not regret the fact. If you want to know more of the controversy, www.youtube.com is full of it. Near to Rufus Stone is some of the most beautiful scenery in the forest, and finding our way into a secluded glade, we lay down on the soft sward and indulged in a little daydreaming, annihilating all that's made to green through a green shade. That might be wrong. Annihilating all that's made to a green thought in a green shade might be a little more right. 8 pings. Only 8? Only 8? There must be more than that. Glad to hear the rearguard cavalry has arrived. Says somebody or other, Lee Lawson. How are we doing on the old time front? From time to time we noticed curious sounds that we could not well account for, till at last we discovered that these were caused by the branches of the trees rubbing against one another, which may explain the mystery of certain forest fires, as the continued friction in very dry weather would, it seems to me, not improbably cause fire. This seems very unlikely. Looking over some old volumes that found a place in the coffee room in our inn, we extracted the following from an old guidebook. The descendants of the Perkis, the charcoal burner who carried the body of the king to Winchester in his cart, enjoyed for centuries the right to the taking of all such wood as they could gather by hook or crook, dead branches and what could be broken, but not by cut with an axe. It struck us at once on reading this whether it originated the term by hook or crook. Hanging up on the wall of our inn, we also noticed a map of the New Forest dated 1849, showing portions enclosed for the growth of navy timber. This was, of course, in the age of the wooden walls of old England. Well, that was only 50 years earlier than he's writing. So I can't imagine that that's that. Well, it may be, yes. We were struck by the profound stillness that prevailed at Stony Cross after nightfall. Really? Normally you get a lot of traffic through there, even at night. Through our bedroom window, not a sound came to us, not even a distant murmur of any kind. The silence seemed almost unnatural. We never felt before how companionable sound was, quite as companionable in a way as fire in a room, raging uncontrollably all around you until you succumb in a horrible and agonizing death. That may not be true either. Our road out of Stony Cross took us... Oh, maybe that's a good place to stop. I'm just thinking that might be a good place to stop because they're going to go on. The Valley of the Hampshire Avon. I can't show you that till tomorrow. Yes, I think we'll stop there. because I'm not reading brilliantly well, and somehow these invented phrases come through. But what do you make of that? Isn't it fascinating when you know a place? I've driven on that A31. Is it the A31 or the A34 or whatever one it is? I've driven on there so many bloody times. Oh yeah, the A31. So many times, and probably passed that place without thinking of stopping. And yet, you know, a few years hence, 120 years ago, there's somebody marveling at how wonderful it is. And now it's that sort of stretch of the road where you just think that it's bleak and barren and the road is just fairly straight and you just want to get to Ringwood so that you know you've hit the next sort of landmark. Boom, as you head towards Bournemouth, and then you get onto the A34 and head towards Dorchester, and then you carry on towards Honington and Exeter and so on and so forth. But it is. I find that really fascinating, and I do find it very sad that some of those old things are gone and are now just, you know, full of people who have no real concept. That little chef full of a lot of youngish people who, you know, probably have no concept of history or anything like that, and just come in, see all the plastic, sit there with their phones, probably notice no Georgian element about that window with the lights in it and all of that. So yeah, Dudley Sawyer says, I make 8 pings. How many pings do you think we had in that? I don't know, probably between 8 and 10, definitely. There seemed to be a lot of picturesques in all of that. Anyway, I think I'll leave it there because I'm going to go and light the Hissey. Oh, I'd probably have a lie down before the Vogue show. No, I've got to go shopping and cook my dinner. So God knows what I'm going to have, governor. Thank you very much for coming by. We will do some more proper reading and no made-up bits in tomorrow's show. So look after yourself, keep warm, and ta-ta to now. Kay Dean says, thank you, Richard. Bye, everyone. Have a lovely rest of the day. Don't forget to hit that like button. Had to say it more than one time. Yes, hit the like button. Don't break it, though. You can hit it, but please don't break it because we need it. Nigel Sadler, he's very near 2 castles. Malwood Castle, medieval with moat, and Castle Malwood, clearly 18th century. The question is, Nigel Sadler, is will he go to them? Or will he be one step ahead and avoid them? Who knows? We will have to wait and see. Very interesting stuff. Thank you very much for joining me. Take care, look after yourselves, keep warm, and I will see you either tonight on the Vogue show or tomorrow on the reading show. And don't forget, there is a video, of course, in the morning. How do I do this? Oh, yes. Ta-ta and goodbye.